Guys, welcome back to the Culturally Distinct Podcast. Your boy DJ KO. I'm glad you guys tuned back into the show. It's been a long time coming. I know I see you guys a long time. I'm glad you guys peeped out the interview that I had with Street NBA. I was trying to give some juice to you guys that that want to start off in podcasting. Think about doing podcasting. Are you seeing the kind of podcast that you want to get involved in, and you just didn't think you can do it, but you can do it. So that's why I put that clip out there. Shout out to Street NBA for interviewing me. Much love to everybody that hit me up in the DMs and hit me up in the comments and everything. I appreciate you guys. Remember to continue to tune in. We are everywhere: Apple, Spotify, YouTube. That's where we are. Today, guys, we have a special guest for you guys today. I like to highlight things in our community and what's going on, especially here in this Houston area. We got a lot of stuff going on, especially when it comes to economics, when it comes to development, when it comes to real estate, and when it comes to finance. And I brought this brother on today so he can educate you guys on some stuff that's going on in this city and the passion behind it. I'd like everybody to welcome to the show Mr. Jason Hyman. What's going on, brother?
I'm good, man.
You good? Oh, man, I'm blessed, man. The weather is cooling down. It's 85 degrees. It's not as hot as it used to be.
Perfect time of year.
Perfect time of year.
I'm from Chicago. This is good in Chicago too, but this is a perfect time of year for Houston.
So how long you been here in Houston?
So I came here straight out of high school. So it's been 2000. I moved out here. My family was here, so I was able to get away from home.
Okay.
But still had some roots and people to connect to, so I wasn't wilding out too much.
Chicago, wow. So Chicago to Houston, that's a big adjustment for his culture.
No, absolutely. So I tell everybody this story. When I first came here, I was walking down the street, and one of the guys, he was walking down the street the other way. He said, "What's up, fam?" And me just coming from where I'm coming from, I'm like, "Fam, I'm not in your fam, man. I don't know who you talking to, but up there it's different.
Right.
People just kind of mug or kind of shake their head. That it's not a whole lot of discussion like that. It ain't as friendly.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Houston, man. And then a lot of Houston isn't really Houston. Since you've been here,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you know that a lot of Houston is Louisiana, Oklahoma,
It's a
New
melting
York, Florida. It's a little bit of everything.
It's a melting pot for sure.
Yeah, that's dope. So, good thing. One reason why I brought you on the show because I see what you and your wife got going on,
Right.
and we're gonna dive into that. Before we get started, I want you to tell the people exactly what is your passion and what you're doing right now.
So, man, this started some time ago. I wanted to build or develop a city.
Okay.
It really was my goal, and so I got into real estate a long time ago. It's been 15 years or so.
Okay.
And so I really got in to learn the game. Graduated in urban planning from Texas Southern.
Okay. Shout out HBCU.
Yeah.
All right, no doubt.
I just really want to take on that, get the experience I needed to come out, and whether I was able to build a city or not, I want to impact my neighborhood at a minimum. Whether that's the policy, whether that's through just changing the way the built environment is that we live. Because I feel like when I was working for the bank some time ago, I would drive home through Third Ward, and like the streets was boom, 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 boom,
Right.
Whatever the case is, stuff, vacant lots, dirty, this and that other. You
Yeah.
don't have that on the other side of town, so to speak,
Right.
So like, how can I change it? How can I be a part of impacting that? And so that's really been where my passion is, and trying to drive investment and money into my neighborhood the right way.
Okay. So by you coming from Chicago, and a lot of individuals, come from out of town, what made you want to do that? Because I know, like, I'm from New Orleans, right? And we have a certain culture in New Orleans for us with the music, the people, partying, the Saints. We have a certain culture. So when you go to another city, I don't expect the city to be like that, but the passion that we have for whatever our city embraces, that's what we have, that what we bring to the city. What made you have a passion for building a neighborhood?
Man, so specifically here, like in Houston, where we are, like, things just lined up. So,
Okay.
like I was saying, like, Chicago ain't always a friendly place.
Right.
But it's advanced in terms of development, density, and the things that they have to thrive. And a lot of that wasn't here. So
Right.
I just kind of mentally saw, like, well, there's a lot of gaps that I feel like I know that I can fill in. And so I just had this mentality of like almost on some level, like not being selfish. Let me invest my, experience,
right.
my money and things like that into where I live. And so it lined up too because my folks was here. So all growing up, I used to, fly back and forth to Houston.
Okay.
And then where I ended up in Third Ward just really reminded me of Chicago.
Chicago, right. I got you.
And so it just all lined up and it felt right.
Right. So for those who are watching, I know if you've been to Houston and it's certain areas in the city, right? We have sub-cities. We have the Sugar Lands. We have the Pearlands. We have the Cypresses, the Woodlands. We have, what else we have? We have Conroe. We have these little sub-cities, right? Then we have the main city, Houston. And it's this area where they gave mostly black people land probably back in the 50s and 60s, which was like maybe 5 miles outside the city. Now it's called Third Ward.
Right.
Right. So Third Ward historically was mostly all black. Black owned everything. Black owned businesses, black owned bank, black owned property, everything. So now it's being gentrified.
Yeah.
So I want you to talk on that for as the gentrification of it and how important it is for us when I say us black, to buy those properties back, because gentrification it's a two-part question. Okay. One, do you think gentrification is a good thing?
Okay.
Right? And why is it that important for us to invest back into those properties?
So that first part, is gentrification a good thing?
Right.
And I'm gonna answer it like this: that as a whole, no.
Okay.
There's parts of it, the outcome of it is good. But what's the problem is that most time it's not us or the people that are from that area that benefit from the gentrification.
Okay.
The term itself pretty much says that you have another class, another, sector of people coming in to raise the value. But as a consequence of that, the folks that's there end up being pushed out. And so in addition to being pushed out, most time what causes that gentrification is people like Third World, people really attracted to like the culture and the history.
Right.
But then they move there and they tear stuff down.
Absolutely.
So the culture and the history get sucked out of it.
Right.
Right. And so that's what makes it real important, because there's a history there, like you saying, like this is an area where free slaves bought land. This is an area where land, our ancestors and stuff, cultivated land or part of building Houston.
Right.
And so once it's gone, it's gone. And, they say like the winner kind of tells the history, the story. So just imagine it's gone and we're not there. Like it's a part of us gone. Right?
Yeah, so I ask these questions all the time because I know, of course, as being a black man and, also dealing with real estate a little, not as much as you are, but just, on a small scale. Like you said earlier, you stated that we actually tore these neighborhoods up that was granted to us. Mm-hmm. So now another party came in, another entity came in that didn't look like us, and they started reinvesting because they saw how close it was to the city. And now, why do you think we're kind of, I guess, we want to keep that property to ourselves when we didn't keep it in the first place? In
the first place, like why is it important now?
Right.
I mean, because you feeling, a lot of people feel endangered.
Okay.
Right? We think about endangered species and things like that, species going extinct. Mm-hmm. We think about animals.
Right, absolutely.
We don't think about ourselves, right? So, but if you don't have a habitat or a place to live and be yourself and thrive, you start to feel threatened.
Right.
And I think that's what you see going on right now. We're saying like, oh man, something ain't right, because next door look different. The store down the street look different than what I've seen. And so now you got to act different, mm-hmm. right? You got to have some different behaviors that's there. And so that's what I think we're seeing right now. And I feel like my wife always, kind of poke me and say, if you look back at it, the timeline things, Trump coming into office sparked a whole, it sparked a lot, right? So you pair the political environment on top of, you seeing your environment change,
right?
Your habitat, so to speak, change. you feel backed into a wall. Everybody is looking for solutions and answers right now. And so that's why I think, that's what kind of kicked us in the gear to start trying to do some things differently, or offer some of those solutions.
But why is this so important? So that's my thing. Why is it so important? Because you could be doing anything, and you could be developing and investing, and we're going to talk about urban planning and development later, but you could be investing your time and money other places.
Okay.
Especially like say a Fifth Ward. Fifth Ward is up and coming, it's a new place for new investors and all that stuff. But you specialize in these urban areas.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say urban. I ain't gonna say black. These urban areas.
Absolutely.
Right? Why do you invest your time in these urban? Why is that so important?
And so that's here and across the country, and it's kind of twofold. So one, I say, is partly selfish, right?
Okay.
I feel like I got 2 daughters, and I need somewhere for them to be themselves.
Okay.
Right? So that's just flat out.
Okay.
Because selling real estate, me personally, myself, with my background, maybe I can go sell real estate anywhere, but everybody can't go sell real estate anywhere. And you go into other ethnicities part of town, they sell with one another.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? So if I'm not me, for instance, and I go over there, I can't really go make any money over there. So where am I going to make money doing what I do? Selling my product or my service,
That's
right?
interesting. That's interesting.
And so it's a breakdown in our economy for the most part. Right. So for me, I said, well, I want to make that impact in not only in my backyard, but create the models and the systems for other people to make money in their backyard too.
Yeah, that's important, because and that you have a sense of that, and a lot of individuals don't. So I want to ask you this: do you think that partnership with other developers, right, in this project or in projects in that urban area, but the other developers aren't black? Do you, but you know what I'm saying, say it's majority, say it's 3 companies that want to develop this space and it's black, but 2 companies are black and 1 is white.
Okay.
Right?
And we partner.
And we're partnering in this.
Okay, we partner.
Right.
Okay.
Do you think that would be beneficial from both sides?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But if we partner, I got a question: who's controlling what's happening?
Okay.
Who's painting the narrative
All right.
about what needs to happen? And that's the important part, because money comes from anywhere, right?
Right.
It don't really it's not loyal to anyone, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And so if I can get $1 million here, 2 million here, 10 million here, but I'm controlling where that money is flowing to and what's being done with it, I'm cool with that, right? Now I want to make sure that I'm looking at the red tape that come with their money and things like that, to make sure this ain't tying me or the community down in a bad way. But so long as all that pans out, that's fine, right? As long as I'm leading, or that developer that's in the area leading and understand what's needed in that area is leading that project, I think that's a win. That's a win for everybody.
Okay.
For them that's not from that area or doesn't look like you, they just want to return on their dollar.
Absolutely.
They like a bank. They the bank. You're not gonna go to the bank. You got to go to the bank anyway.
Right.
You got to go to the bank anyway.
That's true.
So just a way of me bringing dollars in without going through all the red tape with the bank.
Okay.
And so the bank money you can't dictate. It's black money, white money.
Right. It's just money. It's just
money.
As long as they get it back.
Yeah. They
get their money back, or they're gonna maintain the entrance.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you about urban planning. So urban planning is something that a lot of developers are doing now in this space. Urban planning. How did you get into urban planning and development practices?
So I bounced around.
Okay.
Right. I think initially I didn't know urban planning was out there. Okay. Remember, I said I wanted to create a city, and so I felt like I'm trying to search where is this information and how. And I came upon a study of city development, urban planning. But I bounced around, man, sociology, public administration, trying to, no, this not it, this not it. It was what gave me the cross section of real estate brokerage, which is the transactional part of things.
Right.
And the city development, which is the policy part of things.
Okay.
And when you can control at the top the policy, that impacts what I'm doing on a transactional, basis, right? What I can build, how I can build it. All those things influence it. And so once you're able to come into any city and plug into that framework, you move fast.
Well, that's important though. I want you to stick on that a little bit, because when we use this term urban planning, we know that what the dictionary, Webster's dictionary term is, but what is actually urban planning when it comes to actually on the boots on the ground? What is it?
Boots on the ground. So it's a couple different things, right? On one end, if you're talking about from the top down, let's just say urban planning, we talking about policy, right? So in the city of Houston, chapter 42 governs how we build and what we can build.
Okay.
So when you think about stuff like affordable housing and stuff like that, or just what we call naturally occurring affordable housing, meaning there's no subsidy involved, there's no public dollars involved. Well, that policy dictates how affordable it's going to be, because if I can't divide the lots up a certain way, if I can't build a certain height, if I can't use all my land in a certain way, that affects my deal economics. Right. And so right now in the city, for instance, due to parking constraints, it's hard to build certain types of dwellings that we actually need in our neighborhoods. So like that's a restriction right there, right? But you got a place like Third Ward need like, I think over 1,000 one-bedroom units.
Yes.
And we can't get them in because of things like that.
Because property.
And then on the flip side, if it's not top down, if we talking about from the bottom up, you have urban planning more of in a practice like what we call like tactical urbanism.
Okay.
Where that's just us on the ground, kind of guerrilla. You know, we're gonna do it. We're gonna figure out a way to do it anyway.
Okay.
And we're gonna force you at the top to change what you're doing.
So that's more of a. If we put so many of these specific units in this area, the policy has to change, basically.
Or think of it like a good example. Let's go back to like, if I can't put 4 units in one building on a site.
Okay,
I'm gonna split them up. I'm gonna put 4 separate units on the site.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay, I got you.
And so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go. I can go to the city or whatever and say like, what's the difference?
They all 4. Yeah, I got you. So they all going to be 4 individual dwellings versus
one dwelling with 4 units.
Right.
What's the difference? Right. And a lot of times you'll go and talk to some of these cities. They're making decisions on policies that was made 50 years ago, 60, 70 years ago, and the person that's in there is just work. They just following them.
So how is that dictated? So when you talk about policy, because when I had some guys on here talk about real estate, they talked about policy, but they never understood how the policy was coordinated, how it was created. I understand they go off of like a certain footprint and certain economics that come into their neighborhood. They go off of that, but that might be a majority white plan versus, like you said.
It all depends. It's like it's a lot of different, planning kind of tools and mechanisms in Houston specifically. You got at the bottom, you got like HOA, right? Your homeowner association. They got their meetings and bylaws that you can go and influence if you hold land in that area, right?
Okay.
So I can influence what go on there. You got the city that has like your chapter 42, or which the planning commission, the City of Houston Planning Commission, or the planning department.
Okay.
The planning commission is a subset of the planning department in the City of Houston. So they govern that part. So let's say you want to change something, it's going to go through them.
Okay.
Right? If you want to change an ordinance, add an ordinance, so you can do things, it's going to go through a process that they govern. And you'll kind of come down to the planning commission and let's say make your plea.
Okay.
So a lot of times right now, if I want to do something to my land that's different than what's in the policy already, I'm going to go to the planning commission and say, well, I want to take this land, I want to subdivide it into 2, and here's why.
Okay.
And they're going to say, okay, that's within these boundaries, that's within these rules, granted.
Okay.
But people can come down just on the opposite end and say, we don't want that in our neighborhood.
So that's my next question.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about discriminatory acts, because it happens.
It happens.
So you have black developers that come in and they say, we want to do this. They have a plan. Okay, this is what we're going to do, and it's going to benefit everybody, black and white. But one, And I ain't gonna talk about the banks. That's a whole nother podcast
story.
right there. You got the banks that have discriminatory acts, and you have actual individuals with the city that have developers that look like yourself. They like, well, okay, you're capable of doing it, but they're like, well, we're gonna think about it, but they don't approve it.
Yeah. This city has. So I used to work for the city.
Okay.
Right? I used to work in the Housing Community Development Department.
Okay.
And I handled a lot of money in the contracts on the front and back end to see a lot of this stuff to what you're saying.
Okay.
And so it's twofold. You know, the city, I think, has a way of just doing what it's used to and using the players that it's used to.
Okay.
You gotta understand, it's hard to spend money. A lot of people think that they don't get that when I say it. It's hard. You might
So what
think.
do you mean by that? The money that's granted to them from the federal government?
Right.
Okay.
It's hard to spend money. Yeah, to identify projects, to put that money out on the street and do it in a efficient way.
Okay.
Right? That's hard to do. And so a lot of times what happens is I'm going to go to the company that can scale that I've already done it successfully with.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because nobody on a public side of things wants to be the one to take a risk and screw up, right?
Right.
You know, and their career's over. It's public. It's
right.
public. It ain't private.
Right.
Right. You got to go.
It's taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, that's you don't want to get drugged through the mud like that. Now, on the flip side, when it comes to us, what I find is you talked about partnership earlier. We don't partner enough.
Okay.
And so I've seen working in the bank at the bank level. A lot of people don't know these large banks. They partner together when they letting you borrow money, like at a high level.
Okay.
Right. These companies that come to the city that get these contracts, they partner together.
Right.
Because they can show a balance sheet and more capacity.
Right.
Right. They can do 100 homes together, not 10.
So
and that's what they want to.
So hold up, I want to stay there because I want you to educate somebody right quick. What you said now. Now, when we talk about partnership now, we talk about on a large scale. Now, we're going to get to, just an individual investing in one property or one unit has 4 units in it or one apartment complex or whatever. But when we talk about large scale funding, you said partnership. Now, what have you seen for as when they partner with these large banks, not large banks, but large properties, and these people come together? Like, what is the structure? Just say that.
So essentially, if we talking legal structure,
right?
Usually it's some type of limited partner, limited partners, general partners. It's usually how they structure it, right? And that general partner or the general partners typically are the ones who have, let's say, like the resume to show.
Correct.
And them limited partners might just be money,
right?
Backers.
So you have like one person with the money,
one or more.
With the money, they have the money. That's all they got.
Yeah.
Right. You have one person who has the capacity. Right. So they've done this for years and years and years. So they have the infrastructure. Right. So now you have money. You have infrastructure. Now, what else?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
You go to a bank and say, okay, this is what we want to do.
This is what we're gonna do.
All right.
Have your stuff laid out. Make sure you have some type of pro forma to show like why y'all together and what y'all impact is gonna be with this money.
And that's legal.
And that you can,
That's legal.
That's legal all day.
Right.
People partner all day, every day, right? So you go to the bank or you go to the city or you go wherever you're gonna go, and lay your story out, right? Especially the numbers. I'm gonna build 100 homes. I'm gonna build them like this. This how long it's gonna take me.
Right.
This how much I'm gonna charge for them. This how much I'm gonna make, and this who we serving, right? If you can lay that picture out that way, you pretty much have answered the questions that folks that making decision on money need and want to understand.
So do you think that we have representation?
At the high level?
At the high level.
We do.
Okay.
And I don't think it's as widespread as it needs to be.
Okay.
We do. I think what happens though is there's this disconnect. And I've had this happen with me. Right?
Okay.
Because I've worked in some higher levels, this, that, and other, where I'm here to represent you, but like that doesn't mean I can kick down the door for you, so to speak.
I got you.
Right?
I got you.
And so I might come give you the game. This is what you got to do. and you feel like, oh man, you're not with it, or you don't, you're not helping me out.
You're inside, so you know what's going on.
Yeah, like, my hands a little tied.
Right.
Yeah.
I could tell you this is going to happen.
Yeah.
But I can't make no move for you.
I can't make a move for you. But if you get it in like this, I can kind of bump. Hey man, here's one we haven't looked at, good enough, whatever the case is. But I can't be biased to you.
Right. And you can't make it happen. Like you can't say, okay, give me that, I got you.
Yeah.
But I can recommend some things.
Because you understand, in banking, I'm dealing with somebody else's money, and the folks I'm reporting to, they dealing with somebody else's money, right?
Stockholders, yeah.
Right. And if you talking about the city, same thing, right? They dealing with taxpayer dollars, and it's all transparent.
Right.
And so you see, we get stories all the time of like, such gave a kickback, they favoring these developers, right? Now, I mean, that's a whole nother story, a whole other thing to kind of bust open.
Yeah.
But like, I can't necessarily get caught up in that for you to screw it up for the other 10.
Correct.
That's
come behind you.
It's gonna take the game and come behind.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, that's important. That's important for people that especially new into this game, because a lot of people think it's just A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. They don't realize it's a lot of chess moves that have to make place in order for you to do certain things. And I'm glad that you expressed that. So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. First property, right? Is it wise? I'm a first-time developer.
Okay.
Let's say me.
First-time developer.
I have a little money in my pocket. The bank granted me a little money. I got a little credit. I got some line of credit, you know what I'm saying? And I said, I want to do fourplex. I want to do 4 fourplexes. I have an acre of land. I want to put 4 fourplexes on it. Is that wise to start off that big, or is it wise to start off on one unit with multiple? One property with multiple units inside of it.
So that's a real good question, right? A way I like to answer that for people is, what time or resources do you have behind you? Time meaning how much can you commit to being oversight? Okay. Right? It's a lot of things that could go wrong.
Like a contractor, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but even if you hire a GC, right? Or it's, I forget who said, I got an accountant to watch my account, right?
Okay, right.
It's the same way, right? I got a GC, but somebody got to make sure the GC on their job. So
like a project manager.
Do you have the time to commit to making sure things are going the way they need to go? And do you know how things need to go?
Right.
Right? And so that's where I get to the resources. I'm not talking about necessarily money. We can find money.
Right.
Right? But do you have either the people in your back pocket that know, or do you know how to manage all this?
Right.
If you do, the work involved is the same.
I got you.
So go ahead and go after it.
I got you.
Yeah. Go ahead and go after it. But if you're trying to learn, you don't want to clip your heels on something that big, because it set you back to where, you be years trying to bounce back from it, or you mess your credibility up with finding more money. Right. Right, because they trying to look at success rate.
So this is a game. Basically, this is a game you're saying it's more of a game where you have to have some skin in the game, basically. Because over time you gain relationships. Absolutely. It's something that you can't get overnight.
Absolutely.
It has to come over time. I know this electrician, I know this carpenter, this floor, this detail, carpentry. Yeah, I got you.
Either that or you're going to pay for it, because you're going to bring somebody in that understand. You bring me in, I want some premium. I want some return back for bringing that to the table, right? I'm either bringing some experience, I'm bringing some money, or I'm bringing my time capacity to the table. That's usually it. And somewhere along there, it's some opportunities to come about. But if I don't have them involved to actually execute, so I'm gone.
So that's a good question. I want to segue to that, because now we're talking about the bartering system. And as black people, we always had a bartering system, because we didn't have everything. We always had to borrow, or I have this, you can utilize that. What do you say on something like that? Just give that analogy about knowing you're the project manager and you know certain people, but a certain person don't have the money, but they have the expertise in, say, laying floors.
Okay.
Right? Do you go after the money and say, look, this is what I charge for this, man, blah, 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 or you can lay these floors in these units that I have? How do you go about that?
You got to figure out what's important to you.
Okay.
Right? If you don't have the experience, you got to understand you're going to pay for it. Right? Do you want to pay in time or do you want to pay in money? You pick. Right? That ain't something, you can spend the next 5 years trying to accumulate, or you could go ahead and take less money on this one deal.
Okay.
And learn.
Okay.
And the next one get a little more, and the next one get a little more. You get what I'm saying?
Got you.
So, and that cycle, that cycle should repeat. At some point in time, you should be able to do things on your own. You should be bringing in some folks in the same way, where they bring in their experience or resource to the table, and you bring in your knowledge base, right?
Right.
And keep it moving, right? That's how you expand and kind of have this long network of folks behind you.
Yeah, because I know the reason why I asked that, because I know in developing, a lot of people don't have the money to develop.
Yeah.
But they might have the relationships.
They might have the relationship, yeah.
But they don't have a quarter, but they know everybody in the city. Especially like the individuals that work for the city, they know everybody. But they don't have the money to say, I'm gonna give you $200,000.
That's cool. Well, I got $200,000.
Okay.
I need you to connect me with
that's
them.
partnership.
I'm gonna, you take 20%. I'm gonna take 30, 40, and my man's right here. You come on in. I need you to do the work.
Right.
The day-to-day work. While I go find the next deal.
Got you.
Right. So you work it out that way, man. And it works pretty well as long as everybody, as long as everybody kind of play their position.
Right. Because look, that's hard, man. Especially when dealing with us. Like how you said, how you split that up from 20 to 30, and this person gets a lot of people, especially if so. we know this because we're black men.
Yeah.
And we have family members, we have friends, we have some business partners that it's kind of hard to explain the business side to a lot of people because they don't understand.
Yeah.
But like you said, everything has a value on it.
Yeah.
Outside of the money is important, but at the same time, if I don't know this main contractor, I would never ever have access to spend this money with.
Hey, I think that's you touched on a real good point that I think doesn't get expressed enough. And it's one of the things why we do so much education is you got to mess with some people that speak your language.
Absolutely.
Or speak the language.
Right.
Right? Because like you said, it's hard to explain sometimes. And so when you're dealing with folks that don't understand what you're saying and why, that's how we end up getting kind of guarded because we like,
right,
what's going on? Are you trying to get over on me? Or you get what I'm saying?
That's the first thing, yeah. And
so you got to definitely get around some people that either speak the language or at least speak your language and and be unapologetic about that. If John just don't understand, but he got the money, I might need to pass on John money.
Right.
Right, because John is just gonna ruin the relationship, or whatever the case is, because he don't understand. It's just what it is.
Yeah, that's real. So, in closing, I want to ask you this: somebody, a young man or a young woman that wants to get into real estate, right? And they see this interview and they say, "Well, I seen these guys. I saw you and your wife." Doing some major things in our community, right? And they're helping out and they're doing, the best they can do. What are some ways where you guys could help those guys? I guess, I ain't gonna say help them, but some ways where they could come in and you guys could mentor or I guess apprenticeship, show them the way.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. What are some ways that could happen?
So I'm gonna keep it tight and kind of. So my office, my real estate office, we kind of saw that gap.
Okay.
Right? We kind of saw that gap, and so what we did is we got some folks together in our neighborhood, and kind of what came of that is a campaign we call "Do the Things That Matter." Okay. And so that's what a lot of people been seeing on the news lately, is that campaign or things about and from that campaign.
Okay.
And so it's at DT3M Fun on Instagram. And what we've been doing around that campaign pretty much is just what you're saying. We got different campaign partners that are in this development space.
Mm-hmm.
They're creating educational material for people to be able to plug right into. They can download it or whatever the case is.
Okay.
We hosting workshops and things like that. We doing technical assistance. We find that a lot of people can't get money because they don't know how to structure their deals or their project.
Okay.
Right. So we provide some technical assistance to them to lay it out and working towards making sure that we attracting capital that they could tap into.
Okay.
Because it's hard to get capital for
absolutely
them, right? And then last but not least, like we actually doing different development projects and we doing them in ways where people can join in together.
Okay.
Right. So when you talk about mentorship, maybe you were that GP with us on that project, but if not, we still helping you raise funds from your limited partners. So you kind of plugging into a ecosystem already.
Okay.
Right. Of people that's proven, been doing it, whatever the case is. And so like that's been going well. I mean, we've been doing youth summits. We did a conference this year. We have a couple of sites on emancipation that we
that's good.
You know, pushing right now and acquiring more. And so we always looking for folks that definitely want to get into this space.
Okay.
And develop, how you saying, get that in, you know, gain an education so they can communicate.
Right.
And then go from there and actually go out and, you know, kind of do it.
Now, what's the requirements? Do they have to be black?
So
that's a good question. You never know.
So our focus is absolutely focused on the black community.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely focused
That's
on
fair.
the black community. But what we've been finding is like, man, we've been getting the help and support from a lot of places, right? So our core, you know, is a community of black professionals for sure, right? But that help and different things like that, and that investment and the people that we teaching, they coming from all walks of life, right? It's hard to kind of really just keep it.
Right.
You know?
Narrow one way, just one race.
Yeah, once it's out on the web or whatever the case is,
right.
they, you know, even when it is black, people still nosy. They're like, what
right.
y'all doing over there or whatever the case is. But, man, we just ask people really to either do one or three things, right, to engage, right? One, we ask people to endorse what we're doing.
Okay.
Right? So follow the campaign, you know, come to the events and things like that. Donate, right? It's set up through a nonprofit. Donate.
That's important. Donation, yeah.
But we don't ask people to donate just donate like that. Money. Our classes, the workshops, merchandise, ebooks, all that stuff that our partners put together, that's donation.
Okay.
Pay for something that you need, though.
Right.
And then last but not least, we ask people when they ready, you know, become an annual supporter. So we ask them to pay $100 a year, just $100 a year.
Yeah,
and so that just get them some discounts and things like that on certain, you know, things that we're doing. But ultimately, that's the pool of people that we're reaching out to invest with us.
Okay. Oh, okay, I got you. So they kind of investors already, but they don't know it yet.
Right. So as we put deals together, you know, we doing things differently, how we putting our deals together and the things we doing with our development sites. You know, we got development sites where we, you know, we bringing people out, getting feedback from them. What do you want to see here? What do you want in your neighborhood? Those kind of things. And we helping people visualize what it's going to look like. We're involving everybody in the process along the way. So once we have things lined up, we turn to those investors, you know, who wants to be a part of this project or a part of this project.
Gotcha.
And so on. So we try to pretty much put something together where no matter where you are, you can engage.
Right.
You can engage. If all you can do is just support, endorse, you know, hit the like button, you know, you can do that all the way up to actually
donating $100.
Putting your money in. Yeah. Absolutely.
So last question, why is that so important?
Which part?
For the very last part, the partnership of the 5 entities, having these programs, helping these young people out. Why is that important? Because some people, you know, I could just take my money, develop, do what I do.
Absolutely.
Gain generational wealth and go home.
So earlier we talked about like the economic ecosystem.
Right.
And so what we see in development is it's easy for me to come in with some money, develop what I need to develop,
right,
and get out of Dodge.
Right.
Right. But that doesn't create the ecosystem will solve our problems when we talk about gentrification.
Right? Okay.
One of the strongest ways to, combat or manage gentrification, right, is for us to be heavily involved. Us locally, right? If it's that community locally to be involved in what's going on in that community and have some influence on what's going on. That's how we combat it. That's how we keep the culture there. That's how we keep the environment we want to live in the way we want it to be. Right. And so we trying to cultivate a community of them.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That's good.
Yeah.
Hopefully I see, some people see this and it's like, okay, that's dope, and they reach out to you, because that's dope. A lot of it's like doing like I ain't gonna say a engagement program, but it's more of you're helping now at the same time, you're educating, and at the end of the day, there are like ghost investors, but they don't even know it.
Peep game, right? Check this out. A lot of people don't know, like, the stuff we doing is not that much extra for me or anybody else to do. Think about when somebody buy a lot. Okay, when they got developed, it probably take them 6 months anyway before they can even break ground.
Right.
And it's just sitting there, grass growing. Well, we just doing something with the space to attract people, kind of get their input and things like that, and see if they want to invest with us.
I got you.
But even if I didn't, I still, while that grass growing, not doing anything, I still got to go find the money. I still got to figure out what I'm going to do with the site, right? So we just doing it, like you say, in a more engaging way. It's really to empower folks.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. We got to look. This conversation is awesome, and we got to get out of here. So I got to look. But that's dope. I could talk about this stuff all day, especially when it talks about partnership with us and partnership with different companies that look like us and that's willing to invest with us. I wanted to get into that Bank of America thing, but we're going to talk about that next time. So look, Jason, one more time, I want you to tell the people exactly where can they find you guys, where if they want to donate, what's the site for that? If you have anything else that you want to give, you can give it to the people.
No, absolutely. So you can go out to dt3m.com. And everything on there kind of show you what the campaign is about, how you can get involved. If you're just looking to get, some real estate advice, reach out to me at my office at Not Just an Agent HTX, and we'll take care of it.
There it is. It's right there. Look, we done gave you some gems. This is what we do over here. Y'all know that. We give you some gems, and y'all see this brother out here in the streets. Make sure y'all holler at him. I'm pretty sure, he's going to give you some information. Everything, of course, everything is not free. We talked about that, you got to have some relationships going in this thing if you don't have the money. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning back into the show. This is your boy, DJ KO, Culturally Distinct Podcast. Jason, one more time, give me your information. One more time.
Go out to notjustanagent.com. You can reach out to my real estate office if you want to get involved with the campaign. dt3m.com. Do the things that matter.com.
There you go. We out of here, guys. I appreciate it. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. We gonna be in your neighborhood.
And another friend.
And another one, right?